Hi everyone, I'm going to do a quick video simply to compensate for what I think is a bit of a screw up on my part when I did the original version of this particular presentation. Now, first of all, I get to also show off the fancy pants use of the new camera. Not a new camera, but you'll get to see my face and see how embarrassing I look. I won't be able to watch my own videos because I'll be too embarrassed. And then we're going to be talking about functions. I'm going to be just purely talking about the math concept of a function very briefly, just to remind you before we get into C functions. It's because this is the part of the original video that I screwed up. I'm going to try and slice it off so so we can do smaller little chunks for videos rather than these monolithic things that we've been dealing with so far. Hopefully that'll motivate more of you to try out little videos at a time versus having a commitment of 40 minutes or whatever the case is. Okay, so we're going to look at the C concept of a function and we're going to look at math functions first because they are so relevant to what we're talking about in C. The reason is because the people that designed most programming languages originally were mathematicians. And so therefore it's sort of natural for them to talk in this way. So what does a function look like in math? Well, we've seen something like this before. The cosine of 60, right? You've seen this in, I think, junior high school and high school. So cosine of 60 is 1/2. I had to look that up. I forgot it altogether. But we've seen it, or the absolute value before. We've seen that. We've seen f of x before. We've seen g of x and h of x and things like that, where some kind of data or multiple pieces of data go into a function, some magic happens, and an answer is returned. How do you get the cosine of 60? Honestly, I don't remember anymore. That's fine. I just know that I can put some value, some number of degrees in the cosine function, and I will get the answer that I'm looking for. Much like I type something into my calculator, I type in the square root of 2, I get an irrational number. I have no idea how I got it, but somebody figured it out. I want to use that function. That's a mathematical function, if you will. We've also seen things like this, where if we graph it out, here's f of x, where f of x is x cubed minus 3x plus 2. It's a mathematical formula. And so if I take x is equal to 2 into this function here, this will be 8 minus 6 plus 2. That should give me a grand total of 4 if my arithmetic is correct. And that's where it gets mapped. On the y-axis, if you will, or the f of x axis here, the value is 4. And on the x-axis, the value is 2. If I take the value 1 cubed minus 3 times 1, or 3, so 1 minus 3 plus 2, that's equal to 0. Oh wait, here on the f of x axis, it's 0, and on the x axis, it's equal to 1. If I take the value 0 cubed minus 3 times 0 plus 2, that gives me the value of 2, right? You take in some value x, it will consistently give you a different or the same, but it'll give you a value when you plug that value into the function. And it's a consistent value. If I put in f of 0 50 times, I get the same answer all 50 times. And if you want to see other functions, well, I found this funny because I'm a nerd. I especially like the absolute value of x right here, but that's just me being nerdy. Okay. We've also seen nested functions in junior high school and high school, right? F of g of h of 2, right? F of g of h of x is a function within a function within a function. And so what I end up doing is I evaluate the inner one, then I evaluate the one after that, then I evaluate the one after that. So if h of x is x plus 4, and g of x is 2x, and f of x is x plus 9, what I have is, I can actually write this out. I didn't do this in any other version of it, so feel very proud of this. What this ends up being here, so I have x plus 4, that's 2 times x plus 4. That's what that ends up being, right? It is, if I evaluate all the terms, that's what this thing is going to look like. So h of 2 is equal to 2 plus 4, which is equal to 6. G of 6, the one level out from that, right? So this is my 6 right here. That's my 6. 2 times 6 is equal to 12. That's this term right here. And then 12 plus 9 should give me 21 if my arithmetic is right. Right? So therefore, f of g of h of 2 is equal to 21. It evaluates to 21 because I have to do the inner function, then the next one, then the next one. And that's actually what happens in C, where you have this cascade of, or this series of nested functions, where one function, you have to evaluate the inner function, then you evaluate the function outside of that, and the function outside of that, and the function outside of that. The difference is, in C and in C++ and in all programming languages, you go instruction by instruction. You don't just magically get a number at the end. You have to do all of these calculations. You may have multiple lines of code. You may have a very elaborate function that does a lot of stuff. It might be hundreds of lines of code long. But the fact remains, functions work in the exact same way as this. Some input comes in, some output goes out, and that could be used in a subsequent function. So, there we go. So, when we come back next time, it will be the rest of the video. My shirt and everything will have changed. Maybe the voice and the sound of the microphone will have changed. When we come back next time, we will be looking at functions in C, and then after that, we're going to be looking at scope for functions in C. All right, something to look forward to. Thanks, everyone.